Hey guys, it's Rick. Welcome back to the HDVIBE channel. If you'd like to see more tips, tricks, rides, reviews, installs on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles, as well as information about motorcycles and the motorcycle community at large, I ask you please hit that subscribe button. And when you do subscribe, please leave a comment down below saying I subscribe so I can personally reach out and thank you for supporting the channel. Also, hit that bell icon and select all so you get notified every time I put out new content. So today I am here at Gateway Harley Davidson, and they have been kind enough to let me take out a couple of the 2022 motorcycles. So you may have seen a few weeks ago I put out a comparison in the showroom between the Road Glide ST and the Road Glide Special. And today I'm actually going to get out and test ride these and give you my impressions on them. So let's get into it right after this. Alright guys, so we're going to start off the ride today with the Road Glide ST. So let's give this thing a start. There she goes, she fires up. And we are ready to give her a little bit of a test ride here. So again, we are at Gateway Harley Davidson, and I am on the Road Glide ST, and if you'll recall, that has the Milwaukee 8 117 motor. And as soon as this traffic clears, we're going to get out and see what we got here. And we're off. So just a couple things about the ST. Again, it does have the 117 Milwaukee 8, and this is the exact same 117 that you'll find on the CVO. Get my mirrors adjusted a little bit here, a little out of whack. There we go, so I can see behind me. Want to be careful. Again, Gateway Harley Davidson is kind enough to let me take this out for a little bit of a test ride. We're not going to go a long way, and I'm not really going to get into it. Obviously, this is a new bike that is for sale, so if you are interested in purchasing this bike, please feel free to reach out to Josh or any of the sales associates, fit specialists at Gateway Harley Davidson. So my first impression here, this thing is smooth. I gotta say, I've never ridden a Road Glide, nor a bike with a fixed fairing. So this is a new experience. But I would say, ergonomically, the bars feel really good, and I'm probably comparing that more so to my Street Glide Special that I ride quite often on long trips. This does again have the solo seat on this bike. It is, again, I'm 5'10", and I would say that from the perspective of, if you were a taller rider, I would guess that you might want to get a seat with a little bit more reach on it. But this is sufficient for sure. Again, if you're probably 6 foot or so, I would say this is probably adequate. So it's definitely torquey, and I would say what I've heard, and I'm just feeling, this bike does like to run up in the higher RPMs with this cam that happens to be on these bikes. It's very comfortable. And again, this does have the 13-inch rear shock suspension on it, which gives you a little bit more lean angle. than you would get on the specials. It also has the shorter bags, and I will actually put a link to the entire video where we went through some of the similarities and the differences between the ST and the Road Glide Special. This does have the heavy breather on it, and I will say, I'm not a tall guy and I don't have super long legs, but it does, it would be something I would have to get used to with that heavy breather coming out the right side of the bike. It is, you definitely, your leg is laying up against it. I'm sure over time you would get used to that. But you can definitely feel it's there, especially I would think if you're kind of stretching out and you're doing a little bit more cruising on the interstate. I could see having to get used to that, because you definitely cannot reach the sort of the mustache style crash guard that is on the bike. But it is peppy. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it because this bike is brand new, and they were nice enough to let me take this out for a little run around. You know, I don't want to proclaim that this is, you know, an extensive ride review, because obviously I'm just going to be out for a few minutes here on this one. You know, I would say the seat, the solo seat, like I said, doesn't give you much reach. Like I said, I'm not a real tall guy. It is pretty firm. You know, which, if you know, I like Saddlemen seats with the gel core technology. Obviously this is a stock seat with the foam. So it is, it does sit you down fairly low. But for a first time on a Road Glide, my maiden voyage on a Road Glide, I would say, you know, one of the things I've heard is that the instrument cluster is kind of far away. Your speedometer and your tachometer obviously are very close. The Boom GTS system that is on this bike is a little bit farther out, and I would say I could not reach that if I tried, unless I leaned forward and got out of the kind of the riding position on the bike. But I would say you would probably want to control that with the joystick and the controls that are actually up on the handlebars with the Road Glide. So just kind of cruising in afternoon traffic. Just about got sideswiped there. Fortunately, I used some of my road strategy there and kind of saw that he was coming over. So I'm actually going to turn around here. While this is a touring bike, I would say, just because of the way the fairing is set up and is fixed, it does feel longer from a wheelbase perspective. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just sort of the optical illusion of the fairing being out there. Yeah, this thing would definitely get up and go. There's no question about that. And as you know, this has all of the bronze accents on the wheels. The heads have the bronze accent. All of the emblems on the tank, as well as the 117 indication on the heavy breather, has the gold bronzish tint to it. So aesthetically pleasing. Again, this is the bike is in the this is the brilliant or vivid black, I'm sorry. It also comes in the gunship gray. And I would turn on the Boom GTS system, but I don't want to get a copyright strike, so we won't be doing that today. So my initial impressions, I would say this. I mean, this bike is definitely, you could cruise some miles on it, for sure. But I think if you wanted to get a little more aggressive with your riding, and you're into doing twisties and the like, I mean, with the shorter bags and the 1 inch higher suspension in the rear, you definitely could get yourself some decent lean angle on this. I think the lean angle overall is just 1 or 2 degrees more than what the special is. I think the difference being that on the special there's the possibility that you could drag the back part of the bag, because it is the stretch bag, which would not be an issue with this. I've got obviously the Street Glide Special, which is a 2015, has the shorter bags, and I've also got the 2019 Road King Special that actually has the stretch bags. I've never had an issue with the Road King Special at all, having any scraping the bags or anything. You know, and obviously on the Street Glide Special, I have not dragged the bags on that one, and I've ridden that one on the back of the Dragon. So no issues there, and I don't, obviously this bike would be no issues. You know, the fixed fairing, I didn't know if I would like it, but I mean, it's a pretty windy day here in St. Louis, and you get, I mean, it's pretty steady. Obviously I'm not at highway speeds, I'm just on some of the local roads here, so it's not as easy to tell the difference between the two. But I am going to head back to the dealership, and I am going to pick up the red Road Glide Special and give you my thoughts on that one relative to this one. And the other thing I didn't mention earlier is that these do have the cable clutch. I have not, to be honest with you, ridden a Harley Davidson with the cable clutch. I have ridden a metric bike with the cable clutch. Both of my bikes obviously have the hydraulic clutch, but I would say this is, I kind of like this cable clutch. I mean, you got the friction zone, you got a little bit more room there in the friction zone from my perspective, and I kind of like that, honestly. I don't know, you know, you have a cable versus hydraulic fluid operating the clutch. I don't know if over time the cable clutch, obviously they can wear out, but you do have, I think, a little bit more of adjustment on the cable clutch than you would have on the hydraulic clutch. So it definitely, the friction zone engages much sooner than you would get with the hydraulic clutch, because that baby really reaches out. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up here, and I'll leave you with this. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.